Here we go. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Happy September. I missed y'all, man. We live public stream today to kick off the new month. Obviously, Labor Day yesterday. Didn't really care for what the markets were doing. We back at it. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, John Doe? Jory, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Michael, I see you. What's up, Alex? Avery, what's going on? Let's do it. Robert, Deborah, Mo, Gulf Coast Bama, what's up? Sarah. Let's do it. August is behind us. September is here. Let's go. So I got a little bit of a different setup today. I switched out my monitor for iMac that's not connected to my OBS yet, so I'm going to be using one screen today, which is just my laptop, until I get OBS set up on the iMac and whatnot. So a little handicap today, but one screen is really all we need for now. All right, so let me see. Let me check our economic calendar, see what it's looking like. Whoops. Let's see. Economic calendar for today. I have to reset Forex Factory. It's showing all the Forex news that I don't care about. Alright, so today is Tuesday. We have high impact news at 9 o'clock, which is already behind us. And medium impact news, Trump speaking at 1. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at our daily chart. So for those in the server, we talked about Friday's low. Nasdaq's trading beneath that now. So on the daily chart, I'm shifting to more of a neutral / bearish bias. Taking out this low, I'm now looking at that sell side. We have relative equal lows here. And then that sell side, kind of a triple bottom here as a potential draw. So that's something that I'm looking at for right now, but we're going to go ahead and, since we're just a few points away from that, let's go ahead and annotate it. And let's go to a 15-minute chart. Let's take these off. Slap on some opening prices. Nasdaq really heavy to kick off the morning session. We have a lot of movement prior to 9:30. All right, and make sure S&P and Dow are all in agreement. They pretty much are. Take a quick glance at regular trading hours. We're going to have a pretty large gap lower. Right now we're trading at 23,100. So 23,100, we're all the way down here. And then we have that sell side, which also shows on regular trading hours, which I like. So two scenarios that I'm looking for. It's pretty much the same thing I always look for whenever we have a liquidity pool like this. Either I want Nasdaq to open at 9:30 on regular trading hours and trade down, engaging that sell side, and I possibly see a rally higher, repricing in a portion of our opening range gap. It doesn't have to be a full closure. And with the opening range gap, this large, it doesn't even have to reprice halfway. But if we can open at 9:30 and immediately trade lower, tagging that sell side, I would observe to see if we get any meaningful movement higher into that opening range gap. Or vice versa, if we open at 9:30 leave that sell side intact. We open, trade up, repricing in a portion of the opening range gap first, treat that as a Judas swing, and then look for something going lower, and then getting that sell side after we work ourselves into a premium. So those are the two scenarios I'm looking for. We have about 4 minutes until our opening bell. And clearly, since we opened at midnight, it's been heavy, very heavy, pretty one directional. Let's do it. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend, a restful weekend, a much needed time away from the charts. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling rested. Hopefully everybody else is feeling good. Maybe threw some barbecue on the grill. I know some people out there probably made some burgers, hot dogs, some ribs. All the chefs out there. I got my hibiscus tea here. I'm ready to rock. Ready to go. So just gonna sit tight for 2.5 minutes. I'm really waiting to see what we want to do with regular trading hours. Do we immediately just run lower for that sell side, or do we want to work a portion of that opening range gap first and then possibly aim for the sell side? One thing I am being cautious of, though, whenever we have a large range like that prior to the morning session can be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more high resistance. So we moved a lot pre-market. So that's something to be mindful of. Got about a minute and a half. Let's look at dollar index. NASDAQ is moving a lot. Let's see if dollar index is matching that. Still more or less being held in consolidation on the daily. Not much going on with that. But intraday, 15-minute hourly chart, it's looking pretty strong. So we have a correlation there. 1 minute till our open. So yeah, we don't have any more news today. Oh no wonder my Forex Factory calendar is wrong. I said we had news at 9. It's showing it in my local time, so we actually have news at 10. I was wondering, I was like, we rarely get high impact news at 9 o'clock. That's odd. So let me switch this to New York local time. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop on regular trading hours because we're going to get our opening range gap and all that good stuff that comes with regular trading hours. So there's our open, and I just want to observe, do we get that sell side first, and then how do we react after doing so? Do we remain heavy? Do we spend time accumulating? Or do we want our opening range gap first? So let's zoom out a little bit. So I'm just observing. I always like to keep an eye on regular trading hours for a few minutes before I switch back to a 1 minute electronic trading hours chart. Oh my goodness. So there's that sell side. I want to see how we respond after trading into that. I'm gonna go to a daily chart as well, get a few more levels here should NASDAQ really want to explore lower prices. Gosh, I cannot use this keyboard today. I'm just watching to see if NASDAQ wants to reach for that. So as of right now, we haven't repriced in any portion of that opening range gap. If I was pressing buttons today, at this point in time where we're trading at, I wouldn't care for anything short. So let's go to a 1 minute chart. Gonna stay in regular trading hours for a bit. And our opening range gap is from previous day's close to where we opened today at 9:30. Yes, daily live streams is in the Discord. So we do have high impact news at 10. Again, I said it wrong. It's not at 9 o'clock, it's at 10 o'clock. Something to keep an eye on. Let's go back to electronic. I like these clean highs for buy side. For a continuation lower, my ideal scenario would be to trade up. We've cleared out the sell stops here, so traders who wanted to go break out of that low, they're tripped in, they're short, and then we have relative equal highs as buy side. So if NASDAQ can trade into that, absorb all of those buy stops, maybe work above the 830 open, then I think that stage would be set very nicely for continuation lower. But I would like this up here. And then obviously if we're trading into that, then we're also repricing our opening range gap. One of the ways that ICT likes to describe it, when the market is already predisposed to work lower and it's already bearish, and if you have a obvious objective to the downside, so let's say our daily sell side was down here, we haven't tagged it yet, let's say that's our objective, but in this case we do have sell side all the way down here, but this isn't required for me. It's kind of like a sucker play, a bang bang play, where we engage both sides of liquidity and both sides of retail get screwed over before the real move happens, because a lot of people see this displacement, and if we're looking for, let's just say 23,000 as a draw, let's say we're looking for that, well, it's advantageous for people to understand this concept. So if we have this low, and you always have to think in the mind of what is retail logic. Retail logic is, I want to see this support, whatever they call it, turn into resistance. So the moment we trade to that low through it, people are shorting. So they're flooding the marketplace with sell orders at the marketplace. Well, that's good, because if they're selling at a low price underneath that low, you can buy and accumulate long positions here, take it higher, and then if we tag this support or resistance, they call it, because there's always traders doing stuff like this. They're seeing this as strong resistance. So if we blast through that quote unquote resistance zone, people are seeing that as resistance now turn support. Whereas what I would like to see is us engage the relative equal highs, trip them in going long. So now we've punished the short sellers here. And if we take out the buy side, we've punished breakout traders going long. So both sides of retail, both short and long, have been punished. Now, if we're looking for 23,000 as a draw, look where we're at. We're in a nice premium. You can sell the buy stops here because they're buying at a high price. That means we can sell it. And then that'll set a stage nicely for, and I'm just using 23,000 as an example, but that'll set the stage for getting short opportunities at a nice premium after already punishing both sides of the marketplace. So if NASDAQ did want to continue lower, that's a scenario that I'm looking at. So these highs up here. And then I'll also be keeping my eye on S&P. See, I have it pulled up here on the right. Because if S&P starts looking weak and if Dow starts rotating lower, then I'll expect this rally here in NQ to be more of like a suspect rally. But if we go back to regular trading hours, this is one of the two scenarios, wrong chart, that we were looking for. We open at 9:30, sell side first, and then we reprice in the opening range gap. And again, because our opening range gap is so large, I'm not requiring NASDAQ to reach its midpoint. It's fine if it does, but with a large gap like this, like what is that? Almost 400 points, I wouldn't require midpoint, which eyeballing it is probably in this region. But to put it blank and clear, I still favor NASDAQ possibly making a lower low if, and this is important, if S&P and Dow start rotating lower, like I'm looking at Dow. If Dow starts making lower lows, and if S&P possibly starts doing the same, I would expect NASDAQ to follow suit with that. Gosh, I have two keyboards next to me, one for this monitor and then the keyboard I'm using for the stream, and I keep using the wrong one. It's a little odd. All right, so I'm watching this. I'm watching S&P closely. We've engaged those buy stops. So my thought process is all those buy stop orders above the highs, they're tripped in long. The marketplace is flooded with buy orders at a high price. So I'm keeping an eye on S&P and again the Dow, because if those markets start looking weak, then I would trust NASDAQ possibly making a lower low. But if ES and Dow aren't showing any willingness to work lower, then I would just expect NASDAQ to make higher highs. So I'm keeping a close eye on ES. Its fair value gap, do we work through it? Trade through it? Because if S&P easily works through that imbalance here, then NASDAQ, that same fair value gap here, I wouldn't expect that to offer support. So there's insight there. How can you trust what fair value gap to use as an entry or whatnot? This is one of the things that I look at. If ES is looking like it's going to make a lower low and it had no regard for that inefficiency, didn't even care about it violating it, then should NASDAQ trade into its respective fair value gap? I would expect it to not hold. Let's take a look at the Dow. So Dow made a lower low. And I'm placing a lot of emphasis on ES because if ES just breaks way to the downside, then I would expect NQ to match that. And then again, we have news in about 20 minutes, 10 o'clock. So you're not trading today? No, I'm trading tomorrow, only in Discord. I don't like to be too active the day after a bank holiday. But tomorrow morning, I'm back at it privately. So if you wanted to kind of just be a quick scalper, kind of an in and out thing, and what we highlighted earlier doesn't require a daily bias. If you know we're likely to open here at 9:30 and you just go on regular trading hours and you look to your left, that's obvious sell side. It's clear as day. You don't need a daily chart to see that. Even though I have it marked as daily sell side because it's anchored to the daily chart, that's not necessary. So if you see that we open here and trade down, tagging the sell side, and you look and you notice that we have almost a 400 point opening range gap, once we tag those sell orders into the marketplace, it's reasonable to expect some measure of a repricing into that opening range gap, which is something we anticipated prior to the open. But now I would be interested in NASDAQ possibly making a lower low because in my eyes, this isn't all that convincing. I would want to see something a little bit more meaningful. So if S&P and Dow can start rotating lower, then I would want NASDAQ to do something a little bit more meaningful beneath that low. So we've repriced in a portion of the opening range gap. And something I like to do to measure quote-unquote strength is run quadrants on the opening range gap, because if we fail to reach certain levels, so right here, NASDAQ traded up, but it failed to reach that lower quadrant. I see that as heavy, especially if other indices start rotating lower. That lower quadrant, that's like the easy low-hanging fruit for a scalp higher, but NASDAQ doesn't even have the strength to reach that. Then to me, that's giving me insight. And then again, I wouldn't even require this to be traded to. So just go ahead and keep this on the chart, 23,191.50. And we're going to label that opening range gap, lower quadrant, 25%. That's the lower quadrant. Now that we have that, we're going to, you know what, let's go ahead and add the midpoint too. Just for visual reference, once we're on electronic trading hours. So far, NASDAQ didn't even have the strength to get to that upper quadrant, and I'm watching ES closely. Let's look at Dow. Watching all of these. News in 15 minutes. I think that was our only, oh yeah, we have Trump speaking. I think I said 1 o'clock at first, but that was wrong. So he's actually speaking at 2 o'clock. And I did forget it's NFP week as well. So we have NFP on Friday. So generally, rule of thumb on NFP week, you want to finish all your trading by Wednesday morning. So NASDAQ, these highs are 853. ES hasn't cleared those highs yet. ES is more or less remaining stuck in this range, but it hasn't taken out its relative equal highs like NASDAQ did. Whoops. So seeing Dow like this, if Dow continues to make lower lows, now there's instances where you'll see a decoupled market for the majority of the morning session where Dow's just rotating lower, S&P will be range bound, consolidating, and NASDAQ may be working higher. That's a decoupled market, that's high resistance. But ideally, if 2 out of the 3 indices are looking bearish, I would want all 3 of them to get in sync. So seeing this in Dow would make me hesitant to trust anything long in this region. Like Dow just made a lower low there. Dow has no signs of interest that it wants to go higher. S&P, does that look too bullish? For me, as of right now, it doesn't. So would I trust buying a fair value gap here in NASDAQ? Probably not. So this is how I use intermarket analysis to kind of frame how strong an index is, how strong is NASDAQ. Is this rally higher likely to be sustained throughout the morning session? Trading indices should be for scalpers only. There's a lot you can swing trade indices for sure. It just has to match your personality type. Swing trading, like I know I can't swing trade. That's just, I can't do that. But some people, they don't like scalping. They prefer swing trading, place a trade, maybe 1 or 2 trades a week, and then they just like, that's it. You know, they don't want to babysit their trade. They just want to set it, forget it. Set some alerts on TradingView. What tea? This is hibiscus tea. If you watch the vlog and the Dallas vlog I posted a couple weeks ago, or it might be close to a month now. We went to the farmer's market, got some teas from this small company, small business, and it's really good. I like mine. I like cold brew, so I prepare it overnight and then I chill it in the fridge for a day or 2. Throw 1 ice cube in there before the stream starts. So now I'm looking at ES and Dow. After Dow made that lower low, it's showing way more displacement to the upside. Same thing with ES. This is that respective buy side that NASDAQ has already taken out. Did anyone see Tori trades? I just watched her video last night, actually. She's human. She's human like everybody else. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'll do this. Squeeze this over just a little bit. Get a little bit more insight. News in 10 minutes. So now I'm looking at all the indices. Dow, a little bit displacement higher. Same thing with S&P, taking out its buy side, matching the NASDAQ. So now seeing all the indices, there's not one that's looking bullish, or sorry, there's not one that's looking bearish. they're moving a little bit more in sync. But no, that was good. I like that video by Tori. I mean, that's real. Like, she's one of the one of the realest in the industry. But yeah, she made money. She said she made 90,000. She was talking about how she broke one of her rules by like removing her stop loss or whatever. So she incurred $200,000 or something worth of drawdown, but it ended up, panning out in her favor, and she made 90,000. But yeah, that's respect. Like that's there's not a lot of people who are willing to come out publicly and, like that's hard to do. It was a great video. I love it. I love it. You gotta respect and give her flowers, because she gets a lot of backlash, because she trades trend lines and she's making money with it. She's showing statements and all that stuff. So I'm sure it's not fun to make a video like that where you're, most vulnerable. So you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it. News in 8 minutes. I want to see what this not jolts. We have jolts tomorrow. PMI number does. Nasdaq is running against all that buy side, and it's repricing in its opening range gap. For those in the server, that ATM model, right there. I'm using that 7 a.m. high. Dude was waiting for lower prices. That was my ideal scenario, but we've already outlined that daily sell side getting tagged, then repricing into the opening range gap. Now, how far once it reprice into opening range gap, I don't know. Right now, we're in between the midpoint and lower quadrant. But before we even open at 9:30, I said there's two scenarios: either daily sell side first, then higher into that opening range gap, or opening range gap first, leave that sell side intact, and then I'll treat that move higher as a Judas swing, and then look for that sell side. That's literally the only two scenarios that I would care about. If it was daily sell side and then just continuation lower, 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 that's not something I would be interested in. People who always have something negative when you share your live trade. Yeah, I won't be live streaming forever. Probably like 2027, 2028, I'll probably be done like live trading. I still want to live stream, but live trading, I'll probably give myself 2 years. Then I'll leave it to Tanya and everybody else. News in 5 minutes. I'm watching the little countdown clock on Forex Factory. South Africa. A lot of supporters from South Africa. I love it. I love it. Shout out South Africa. One trade away from first Apex payout. Let's go. That's what's up. Marius. That's what's up. If you took this long, what would make you take it? Daily sell side first. The midnight opening price is way 23,440, but something we've been talking about in the Discord last week. If you struggle with bias, and y'all already know what I'm about to say, if you struggle with daily bias and you just can't understand the daily chart, you feel like daily bias is the missing piece to your trading, I always tell them just slap on the midnight opening price on your chart. If you're trading below it, your bias is bullish once we open at 9:30, and it's that simple. It's that easy. And if you look at last week, I think every day last week, at least 4 days, we reached the midnight opening price, and there it is. So you combine that with the 8:30 open. If we trade beneath the, if we're trading beneath the 8:30 and the midnight open, once we open at 9:30, your bias is bullish. That's the whole reason why I came up with Tremaine's model. It takes away the element of having to understand daily bias. It takes 2 seconds to get your bias. Where's the midnight opening price? It's here. Now, that doesn't have to be traded to, but you can find setups in that direction because the model calls for you take partials, and you leave a small position on as a runner for that midnight open. And if you use the midnight opening price as a means for determining bias, you'll be on size 70% of the time. There's stats on that. It's the easiest way to form daily bias. And then it gives you rules as far as entries. So if you're beneath the midnight open, you don't care for anything going short. That's the parameter you place on yourself. That's the parameter. You say, okay, we're beneath the midnight open. Are you looking to short this fair value gap? Are you looking to short that up close candle? No. Why? Because you're beneath the midnight open. So you're placing a filter. You're only interested in higher prices. You're only interested in buy side. You're only interested in premium arrays for targeting and partial taking. And you're not interested in anything else. And then when you get more comfortable reading the daily chart and seeing which days are likely to be trending days, like if we were to take out the sell side and it's just lower, eventually you'll be able to look at a daily chart and say, okay, I think I know what it's reaching for. And you'll be able to short and participate in a continuation even though you're beneath the 8:30 open, midnight open. But until you get to that point, just slap on the midnight opening price and then you'll be on side 70% of the time. Udonis, where's the stats? You know we have haters in the stream. I'm going to keep them in here. I already showed account statements last week. Every single trade, including losses, which I hope that was inspiring for some, because a lot of people are saying, did you over leverage? Did you gamble? I think I took, you have to go back and watch the video, but I think I took around 8 or 9 trades on that account, and I think 4 of them were losses. So to make 100% return on a 10K account, I didn't need to be perfect. I had positions stopped out in profit, not even reach my full TP, but risk management, scaling in, keeping losses minimal. I took 4 losses on that account and still was able to net 100% in 6 days. So people who think you need a crazy win rate, or if you go in a little bit of a slump, if you have risk management, that clears up all of that. And I showed that in the account statements, all that. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I was going to make a video about it, but maybe I will, maybe I won't. I've just been really busy. But if you follow me on Twitter, I shared those account statements, all that. You can see the losses, you can see the commissions I paid, you can see the end of day P&L, the withdrawals, all that good stuff. But that 10K was put to good use. This iMac is nice. So we have our 10 a.m. news driver. We're going to zoom out a little bit because now S&P and Dow leading the way, and you see dollar. So I like the symmetry there. So we're going to slap on a little bit more buy side so we don't have to keep zooming out. Let's go back to a 1 minute chart. But it's like a lot of people say, show your account statements, show your account statements. I've seen traders bigger than me show Tori, for example, daily account statements. Like, here's my daily log. Cause I think she started off showing like monthly statements. People were saying it's fake, it's a fraud. You got lucky, it's just 1 month. So she started showing daily account statements. Here's what I did every day. And people still didn't appreciate it. So if I'm seeing other traders show account statements and they still get clapped back, best believe I'm not going to do it. I like keeping people, because if you watch, I feel like it's easy to see when a trader knows what they're doing, especially if they're being transparent. Now, if somebody's showing only wins, 100% win rate strategy, this and that, then come on, like, it's clear as day. That person probably doesn't know what they're doing. But if you're somebody like Tori, who they're making a lot of money, but they also show their losses and they transparent about their struggles and where they did it wrong, like, that's respectable. I honestly don't think Tori should share her account statements. I think, like, kind of what ICT does. Like, ICT, he'll talk a lot of trash, but he'll never show his account statements. It gets people riled up. And it's good for bringing people to his channel. He's talked about that. That's why I love his delivery, because he's confident in his ability to trade. He doesn't care if you believe him or not. Why would he show us his account statements? He's comfortable living. He's got a family. He's got his wife and kids. ICT is cool. Like, he's cool. So he's like, showing his statements wouldn't do anything for him. And he knows it's not going to satisfy anything or anybody. So I'm kind of adopting that same mindset. Whether people think I'm a fraud or not, makes me no different. My bills are paid. My girl is taken care of. Family's good. And I love live streaming. I love the community we got going. But dollar index looking heavy. NASDAQ just fell short of midpoint of the opening range gap, with dollar index looking this bearish, and S&P and Dow all in sync. I just want to see if NASDAQ wants a continuation higher. But for those in the server, that ATM model, that sell side, that sell side and that buy side, there it is. And then I know I wasn't too active in the Discord yesterday. It's a bank holiday, but I sent a couple of screenshots in there. ATM model. I sent a 15-second chart in there. So that's back-to-back days where it's just clockwork. I kind of preach not trading bank holidays, not because of the price action, but just for the sake of, like, give yourself a break. We rarely get a day off when it comes to trading. Like, usually it's just Monday through Friday. So if there's a day like a bank holiday on Monday, I'm more of an advocate for just take the day off, enjoy your 3-day weekend, because we don't get those much. But if you're just itching to press the button or paper trade or just tape read, that model delivered pretty nicely yesterday. Discord, ATM model. If you're a subscriber, a lifetime access member, then you should be able to see it. And then taking that bank holiday off, I just feel like you come back more rested Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because you gave yourself a nice 3-day break. Mentally, you're just ready to go. So I'm looking at that down close candle around the midnight open. I'm watching its main threshold, because if we lose that, that's kind of like my last line of defense for higher prices. So we have a inefficiency here, but this down close candle, if we trade to it, I'm watching his main threshold, his midpoint. And if NASDAQ eats through that, then to me that's problematic for higher prices. But as long as we stay above, we'll just call it 23,160, then that buy side at 23,340 has my attention. All right, we'll go ahead and get him out the chat room. We don't need the negativity. When people are unhappy with their trading abilities, they tend to take it out on other people. So we'll go ahead and get him out of here just for 10 minutes, a little timeout. I don't have any mods or anything yet, so it's just me. I'm not really reading the chat much. I'm kind of watching to see what price is doing. I'll give him some time to go get some cereal or something, get in the right mind state. He's probably a little hangry, and then he can come back. It's only 10 minutes. So ES, that's the Dow. S&P formed a high, Dow. All my focus is in that down close candle. As long as we're above his midpoint, then I still favor that buy side. But if we lose main threshold, then that small short-term low at 930 I marked out, that would have my focus. Appreciate that. Fali Fairs. If I'm butchering that, I apologize. But that's what's up. I love it. What is your thought on Zusi? I don't know anything about Zusi or his model. But if I'm being honest, man, when it comes to like mentors or picking a mentor or finding a server to join, I always recommend just like, because I see a lot of people ask me like, what do you think about this guy or this girl? What do you think about this person's mentorship? I think you take what you need from it, do your research if they seem like a genuine person or not, but I don't think you should be attached to any mentor, any educator, even me, for a long period of time. Like, my favorite messages that I get in the Discord are the ones that say, all right, Tremaine, I've been in the server for a month, I've been in the server for 2 months, 3 months. I think I'm going to go ahead and head out and pursue this thing on my own. Thank you for, teaching, but I'm canceling my subscription. I'm out. I love that. I love that because that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. You watch the YouTube videos, you do what you got to do, handle your business, you study, and then when you feel like you got it on your own, then you get up out of here. That's how it should be. I love it. And that's how it should be with ICT. Like, you take what you need, find your model. One of my favorite quotes by him is, you have to bloom where you're planted. Okay, if you want to be a scalper and just get quick one-on-one risk rewards, the ICT can help you do that. If you want to just be a machine and just be in here trading up and down, it's going to take a little bit more work understanding, but you can do that. But just bloom where you're planted, whatever you're comfortable with, find that and just be comfortable there and then carve out your own income without having to rely on somebody else. That's why I'm probably going to be done live streaming in, 3 years. 2030, I don't plan on be live streaming because eventually, I just want to teach. Just want to help other people without putting the pressure on them to have to copy my trades and whatnot, because I want to promote traders to be independent, do their own thing. And then I want them to be able to come back and be like, hey, I was in your Discord 2 years ago. Look what I'm doing now. That's what I'm talking about. So that down close candle, I'm watching to see if NASDAQ stays above it. I'm talking about this one here at 947. We want you streaming in 2050. I ain't finna be like ICT. I'm letting y'all know right now. I will not be live streaming when I'm 50 years old. That will not be happening. I will be in Cancun somewhere living my life. I love y'all, but that won't be happening. No, sir. I got a lot of respect for ICT. He's been going for like 30 years or something. I will not be doing that. I respect it though. That's a lot of work. That's live streaming though. I'll probably always make videos, maybe vlogs and stuff every now and then, but I feel like the main reason why we become traders, and I'm still looking at price action, NASDAQ's kind of just hanging around, meandering. All I'm looking at is this down close candle. If we stay above it, I still favor the buy side. So I'm watching price action. It's just slowing down a little bit. But I feel like the main reason why we become traders is to just be able to go incognito. You don't need a boss. You don't need an employer. You don't need social media. Like, you can just live your life peacefully without, just being off the radar. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Doyle Exchange. I love Doyle. That's one of the traders I looked up to when I was first getting started. And Doyle, he don't have Twitter. He'll take breaks. He'll go on YouTube. He'll be missing on YouTube for like 2 or 3 months. Not because he's not trading, whatever. He's just living his life. He's traveling with his lady, doing his own thing. Like, he's living his life outside of social media. That's how it should be. That should be the goal. I'll protest. It's crazy. So NASDAQ's working this inefficiency. I'm looking at Dow. Seeing if Dow can make a higher high. Same thing with ES. And then I'm going to outline. Well, mean threshold of the down close candle here is pretty much that 830 opening price. So if we stay above that, then I'd like 23,340. Oops, sorry. Can you explain why you're looking at that candle? I'm looking at that candle. That's the last down close candle before we got that displacement that left at inefficiency. That price leg here, it started with that down close candle. So in my eyes, if we lose that, if we don't have any support there, if we trade through it, through its midpoint, if we get beneath it, then to me that's signs of weakness. And that's when I'll do the same thing. I'll look at ES, I'll look at Dow. Do they agree with that idea of getting weak? But for higher prices, that's what I'm saying. For me, this is like the last line of defense. I wouldn't want to see much beneath that for higher prices. Do you trade during news? I've held trades during news before. I had instances where it panned out. I had instances where it doesn't pan out. It's a situational thing. I wouldn't like trade during like NFP, CPI or anything like that. But medium impact news and some high impact news drivers, if I'm already in a trade, then I'm fine holding through news. But if I do that, then I would want my stop loss to already be risk free and whatnot. But I would never open a new trade like 5 minutes before news. But if I'm confident that the market is likely to go somewhere, if I'm already in a trade and there's news drivers coming, I would just expect that news driver to act like just like rocket fuel. All right, let's zoom in a little bit here because I'm watching midpoint of that down candle. That has all my focus right now. 90-minute cycles. Nah, because ICT hasn't taught 90-minute cycles. The only people who are teaching quote unquote 90-minute cycles are other people than the man who I think knows what he's doing. So I don't like implementing stuff to my trading without knowing that it works. So 90-minute cycles, if ICT hasn't talked about it, if he hasn't taught it, I'm not adding it to my chart. Any other strategy, methodology, ICT concepts 2.0, like I'm a pass. NASDAQ slowing down a little bit. Look at Dow. Dow has nice, clean, relative equal highs. S&P, watching to see if it can make a higher high. And then dollar index, very heavy. So dollar index isn't showing any signs of wanting to work lower. Or excuse me, wanting to work higher. So that symmetry is still being maintained. Breakaway gaps. I have videos on breakaway gaps. If you just look up Tremaine Trades breakaway gap or search Tremaine Trades fair value gap staying open, something of that sort. I have a couple videos about breakaway gaps, when I anticipate them to stay open and whatnot. No, for real. Like I feel like there's a new, like, strategy, secret market paradigm, like, released every day. Like, every time I'm on Twitter, which Twitter is toxic, I try to stay away from my, like, home tab. I just post on Twitter and then get up out of there. But, like, there's always somebody trying to, like, come out with something that's been unreleased, or, it's just all garbage. NASDAQ has a little inefficiency on a 5-minute chart. So we've kind of just been range bound for the last 20 minutes or so. Haven't really got much movement. Well, it's kind of expected. We moved so much pre-market, and we had a nice repricing into the opening range gap once we, once it took out that daily sell side. But it's kind of a little lethargic right now. But again, it's staying above that down close candle at 940. What is that? 947, staying above that. While ES and Dow still look bullish. Then Dow short-term highs here, NASDAQ's high, and then that buy side at 23,340. CRT, oh, don't get me started on CRT. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. If we don't get any movement, or if we're still in this range rather, by like 10:30, 10:35, then we may end it. I'm really just waiting for NASDAQ to work out of this. Look, Udonis is back. He sat through his 10-minute timeout just to talk some more trash. Look, can you imagine? Somebody push you. He had that timer set for 10 minutes. Oh my God. Yo, that's a whole nother level of down bad. That's bad. That's insanity. He had patience to wait 10 minutes. As soon as those 10 minutes are up, 10:01, he's in the chat room again, lighting it up. That's crazy. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. All right, so NASDAQ slowly approaching that high, slowly, dreadfully, but still staying above that down close candle at 947. It's not the most exciting price action at the moment, and we don't have any more news drivers for the morning. Next news driver is 2 p.m. with Trump speaking, which I'm not really expecting much with that. Where the mom is stalking her daughter. What Netflix movie is that? God, I think I know what you're talking about. If you know exactly what you're doing in the market, do you think it's best to start trading with a funded account or own funds? I'm a big advocate for personal funds. I think the end goal should always be personal funds, but not everybody has the capital to trade with personal funds just yet. So that's when I think prop firms come in handy. Like, I think you should take advantage of prop firms if that's the only route you can go. But I always remind people prop firms isn't the only way to go. If you have a small business on the side, if you make enough at your current job to where you could chuck in a little bit of money each week, each month to your live account. If you have a small live account and you have the skill set to trade, you could try to, like what I did with the 10K account. You don't have to make a 100% return. You can make a 25% return in a month, which on a 10K account is not hard if you're trading, 5 micros, or if you have the confidence to put on 1 mini. You can compound a live account, but use prop firms as a vehicle. But I think, like, I'm big on how ICT described it, like how he went about prop firms with his son. He says, son, you want to go a top step? That's cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to take out $10,000 from top step, and then we're dipping. We're out of there. I don't care if they keep the funded account open, closed. I don't care. But the moment we could take out $10,000 from top step, we are leaving. We're not trying to get any more payouts. We're going to a real regulated brokerage. I think that should be your mindset. Get what you need from these prop firms. Have a fixed dollar amount. I think 10K is good. And then get up out of there. Do not attach yourself to these prop firms. Build your own income stream. Because if prop firms go away tomorrow, what you gonna do? Like, that's just, you know what I mean? And definitely, I don't know why, like, definitely do not quit your job if you have a funded account. That makes no sense to me. Like, people who go full time, but they don't have their own capital. They just have, 400K funding from FTMO, Top Step. That's the dumbest thing you can do. One rule break and you're going back to work. That's just build your own capital. Please do not go full time based on a prop firm, because that prop firm shuts down. If they change their rules, if they say you broke a rule or you didn't know about, then what you gonna do? That's why real funds is the way to go. You have to. Yeah, that's a non-negotiable. You need full time. You need a real brokerage account, regulated brokerage account, your own funds. You can't rely on these prop firms because that's putting way too much trust in them. All right, I'll give it till I'll give it another 10 minutes. Nasdaq is really slowing down. It's still in this range. It's not anything really too exciting, but I missed the chat. It's been a while since we came out here on a public stream, so I'm not in a rush to get off, but Nasdaq isn't doing anything too exciting for me right now. Have you watched all of ICT mentorship? I've watched all of the playlists. I've watched all of 2022 playlists. I've watched it, but I haven't taken notes on it like I did with the other playlists. Like I kind of just watched it as a series. But 2023 playlist, I went through that heavy. 2024 playlist, I went through that heavy. 2025, it doesn't have too much content in that 2025 playlist, but I have notes on that. Those notes are shared in Discord. 2024 and 2025, I share my notes on that in a server. And now I'm going through the core content, like we just finished core content notes for core content month 1. So I'm really just bored because ICT took such a long break from posting and sharing content. So I'm just going through all his old stuff. So I just finished month 1 of the core content, did some PDF notes on that. And I like sharing them with the community because, people find value in it. But I'll probably start month 2. I'll try to get it started this week because ICT is going to start posting material again. So that's going to have my focus. What's the evidence that Zusi and Justin Weirland? I don't know much about any of those guys. I know who they are. Justin, he seemed like a cool dude, but I don't know much about him or what he offers and whatnot. But honestly, if we're being honest, who cares? Like, who cares? I have a lot of people in the comments, and I never understand. They'll be like, they'll tag Iman Trading, Iman, whatever. Iman, can you expose this guy, Tremaine? And it's like, I would love to be, I'll be honored. But it's like who cares who's a scam, who's not? Focus on your own development. That should be your mindset. I don't care if this guy's real. I don't care if this girl's real or she's a fraud. I'm about to get to the bag somehow, some way. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I'm about to lock in. That should be your mindset. Like when I was trading Forex and I was trying to figure out this whole trading thing, I didn't care who was a scam. I didn't care who had what going on. Like, I'm not trying to report nobody for being a scam. I don't have time for that. Like, I'm trying to get out of this job. Forget who's selling mentorship, who's doing Telegram stuff. Forget all that. I'm trying to get out of my situation. Like, who cares what Justin is doing? You don't need him for success. Who cares what Tremaine's doing? You don't need me for your success. Who cares what Tori going and what she's showing and what she lost, what she made? Who cares? How are you doing? Did you study today? Did you back test? Did you journal? Are you taking care of your business, or are you just in somebody else's business worried about what they got going on? Wasting time. We got people in the chat. Are you being productive, or you're waiting a timeout for 10 minutes just to talk more trash? It's a waste of time. We don't got that much time to be wasting. That's why it's like people ask, what do you think about Justin? What do you think about Zusi? What do you think about Tori? I don't care. That's why I don't follow any of them on social media. I don't follow anybody on social media but ICT. And that's just so I can get his post notifications. I don't follow ICT for a little bit because of the back and forth be going with the drama and stuff, which I know he uses it for marketing. But even when ICT go on his little drama skits, I don't care. Like, I really don't want to see all that. I'm just trying to get to this money and help other people do the same thing. If it ain't about money, helping people, faith, family, it got nothing to do with me. Why do you look at ES chart? Oh, why didn't you look at? We're looking at ES. I just flip through them back and forth. My separate monitor, it's I don't have the iMac set up and whatnot, so I don't have my layout. But usually on my monitor, I would have stuff like my chart will look like this. I'll have NASDAQ in different time frames. I'll have like a 15-second chart, 15-minute chart, and I'll have a daily chart in NASDAQ. And then I have another tab here where I have dollar index. I like watching a Forex pair. I have S&P and I have Dow. So I have all this on my separate monitors. That way, when I'm trading on live stream, we can just go full screen, which is the YouTube content. If you're not in the Discord, the YouTube content you see, it's just one screen, 1 minute chart, but I'm looking at other things. And sometimes I have drawings. So like this layout, anything I draw on this layout is linked to only this chart. So I may be looking at a new week, new day, opening gap, something on this chart. You don't see that here because it's not synced. But a lot of people say, why are you looking at a reversal here? It's because on a separate layout, I have a new day, new week, opening gap drawn here. But I like keeping the chart clean because for me, it's less distracting. But yeah, just focus on yourself, man. Focus on yourself, because there's nothing better than just being like fully self-sufficient. Like you don't need anybody else. You don't, who cares what Tori's doing or any other trader, mentor, who cares what ICT is doing. The best feeling is when you get to the point where like you don't need anybody, in a sense that you don't need anybody's approval or you don't need anybody's, whatever. The moment you can just be fully self-sufficient like that, that's the state you should get. That's why I say don't rely too much on prop firms, because having a prop firms is like having a job. If we're being real, there's rules. They'll take your stuff away if you don't follow the rules. They monitor your account and your balance and your equity and all that. That's like having a supervisor, isn't it? It's like having a job. When you get paid, they take out certain pay. You only get paid when they tell you can get paid, for most firms or whatnot. So use the firms, drain them, milk them, take what you need from them. But we're not trying to work for other people. We're trying to build up our own account so we could work for ourselves. Are you streaming on YouTube today because you're not taking trades? Yes, I'm not trading today. Tape reading today. Day after a bank holiday. I did like the longs into that opening range gap after we cleared out the sell side. It's one of the things I was anticipating. But I'm back tomorrow. Trading tomorrow privately. I'm trading tomorrow on stream. On Discord stream. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday we have high impact news at 10. So unless I find a clean setup by like 9:40, anything after like 9:45, 9:50, I'll probably just wait for 10 o'clock jolts. But preferably I would want to be done before 10 o'clock. So I'll see how that goes. Why did you choose not to trade today? One of the things I have on my trading plan is, and NASDAQ is really just hanging around. But one of the things I have on my trading plan is just the day after a bank holiday. I usually like to take it light. I don't like to do too much. So it's just a general rule of thumb. Like you could trade bank holidays if you want to. You can trade the day following a bank holiday. But more times than not, I'll just pass on it. Are you breaking your knuckles? Yeah, I have a bad habit of cracking my knuckles and my neck. After watching all the mentorship, how do you avoid adding all the concepts in your model? I mean, you just need a few things. Like the main skill set I try to focus on is understanding drawn liquidity, where it's going. ICT could come out with a whole bunch of new PD arrays and new models and new entry techniques and this and that, which is cool. Like I'll be studying that too, but what I try to focus on is all the any content the ICT posts that has to do with bias, directional, drawn liquidity, anticipating where it's likely to go. That's what I focus on. Now, entry criteria and all that stuff could come later. But too many people like, is this the Venom model right here? This is the 2022 optimal trade entry with the unicorn, with market structure shift, like all that. Like, that's all cool, but just tell me where it's likely to go. Like, teach me that skill set, where it's likely to draw to. I'll handle the rest over time. The entry, and I didn't understand it when ICT first said it, when he says, like, entries are really the easiest thing, because it is. The hard part of trading is just understanding where it's likely to draw to. Because if you have that, then you can flip a coin, buy or sell, and, you know, there it is. You can, it doesn't matter if you use an order block, breaker, fair value gap, wick, but you need to know directionally where it's likely to go first. So when it comes to like the kitchen sink approach, where everybody tries to throw in all the ICT concepts together and they try to use a little bit of everything, that's when you can hurt yourself. So just focus on building the skill set of where's the market likely to draw to, and then find one entry using a fair value gap. There it is. Or if you like order blocks, your model, what you're used against the marketplace, is an order block. Like, that's when I first started out, for people who are with me like way back when I first started the channel, I used to hate inversion fair value gaps. As crazy as it sounds. People would always ask me, do you trade inversion fair value gaps? Do you use inversion fair value gaps? And I'll always say no. Like, I didn't like inversion fair value gaps because I didn't understand them as much. I couldn't really like anticipate when fair value gaps were likely to fail, because I was lacking what? I was lacking narrative. It's easier to trust this CB here. It's easy to trust this to be used as an inversion fair value gap if we were already expecting that sell side to be taken, and then what? A repricing into the opening range gap. So it wasn't the fact that I didn't know how to use inversion fair value gaps. It was just the fact that I didn't understand directional bias. I didn't understand narrative. But the narrative was, if we tag that daily sell side first, meaning if we open at 930 and it's lower, what are we expecting? Continuation, lower, lower, lower? No. We want to tag that and then see a repricing into the opening range gap, which is this large inefficiency here. So once I started improving and just anticipating price runs, then naturally, as a byproduct, I'm able to trust inversion fair value gaps or any other PD array, because the logic is we're already expecting this to be used as support in the future. And that same thing with breakers. I see somebody in the chat talk about breakers. I couldn't see a breaker to save my life. Like, I couldn't, if I train my eyes hard, like in demo or like hindsight, and I really look in here, I'm like, okay, so we have a low here and we have a low here, so that means breaker is somewhere in here. Like, I would like have to, you know, it would take me a few seconds to spot a breaker in hindsight. Cannot see a breaker in real time when the candles are printing, but that's just an experience thing. You know what I mean? So now it's like I can see, I'm anticipating a breaker to form. Whenever we form this low here and trade higher, if we open at 930 and I'm already expecting this sell side, once we tag that sell side, okay, cool. We have a lower low here. My bias is already bullish. We're expecting that opening range gap to be repriced in. So my focus goes right in these three up close candles, and you can expect that to be used as support. But that's just something that takes time. It comes over time. I couldn't see breakers. I couldn't trust breakers. I didn't care for inversion fair value gaps. You would never see me trading an inversion fair value gap a couple years ago. I just did not like it. I would like normal fair value gaps. Like, if I'm bullish, I would want bullish fair value gaps for entries. I didn't trust anything on the left side of the curve. So that's a normal thing to encounter. Nasdaq's just been consolidating for almost an hour now. Do you use Dow as a strong SMT confluence? I wouldn't say I use Dow for like strong SMT, but I use Dow. No, most times, let's say I'm bullish looking for higher prices. Let's say after sell side is taken here, let's say you're expecting higher prices, some measure of a retracement higher. A lot of times Dow would lead the way first, because Dow only has 30 stocks in its index, so it's more fluid, it's faster, it moves more liquid. So if that's the case, if Dow is just really running and it's leading the way higher, and I'm already anticipating higher prices in NASDAQ, then that's how I look at the Dow. I'm not really using it for SMT. Now, if I spot it, then obviously that's just extra confluence on top. But whenever I see Dow just tearing off in one direction, especially in the direction of my bias, to me that's kind of foreshadowing that the heavier indices like S&P and NASDAQ are likely to follow suit. Market pump to my draw without an entry. There's a lot of entries in this. If I was trading today and I wanted to go long, and this is something that comes with experience as well, because I would see a move like this, and let's say we're looking for buy side or opening range gap lower quadrant. How can I participate in this? A year and a half ago today, there would be nothing in here for me to participate in, because it's like I would be looking for your standard fair value gap here as an entry, and then I wouldn't get it, and it's like, well, there it is, no entry. If you're trading the 1 minute chart, you're not always going to get that fair value gap. That's why a lot of times I use a 15-second chart, because if I'm confident that this low is in place and we start moving away, I'll drop down to a 15-second. But if you're using a 1 minute chart, you have to understand that you're not always going to get a fair value gap entry. And if you do, it may not be as low as you want because it's a 1 minute chart. But that doesn't mean you can't find entries using other PD arrays. So something I always tell people, if you don't have access to a seconds chart, that's fine. Either wait for fair value gap. If you don't get it, then I guess you have no trade. But if you built a skill set of trusting other PD arrays, this inversion, fair value gap, this could be an entry. And a lot of people, they'll wait for like a closure above and then come all the way down for an entry. That is not required. Even ICT says you don't need a closure above an inversion fair value gap. Just trading to its midpoint, closing above its midpoint, to me, that's already bullish. So possible entry techniques, let's just run through them. Inversion fair value gap, we've already taken out daily sell side. We're anticipating now a repricing into that large opening range gap. You can buy as it's trading through midpoint. People on stream see me do that a lot of times, because if I'm already anticipating this to fail, I want to buy near midpoint or buy near the high. Once we close above midpoint of the inversion fair value gap here, the next candle opens, trades down, immediate rebalance. You can buy it there. We rally 2 down close candles, consecutive candles, cross that opening price. You can buy as it's breaching that. So there's a plethora of things you can use to get in. And sometimes I just buy, it won't even be based off a PD array. I think I did a couple weeks ago where if I'm just confident this low is in place, we've cleared out sell side here. Discord members, we're always anticipating the ATM model. Regular trading hours, midnight opening price, 8:30 opening price, is all above us. So if I'm already confident this low is in place, I may not even buy based on a PD array. Once we start moving away, I'll get in there with a stop loss beneath the low, because I'm confident that won't be taken out. And people say, what did you use to get in? What did you use? What PD array? I didn't use any PD array. I'm just confident that low's in place, so I want to be a buyer here. Breaker here. We have a low. We have a high, a lower low that takes out that sell side liquidity pool on the daily chart. 3 consecutive up close candles with the highest up close. That's your breaker. You can buy here, but it's not required. You can also buy as we're trading through it. You can accumulate long positions in here. That could be an entry. So there's a lot of things to get in here. But if you're just looking for your standard fair value gap, if you don't understand multiple PD arrays like that yet, then you'll probably be waiting for something like this and you wouldn't get that. Now, 15-second chart, already you can see why I like using the seconds interval, because it's a lot more forgiving in entries. Fair value gap here. You have a order block, 3 down close candles. Fair value gap stays open. We like that. Another fair value gap, general rule of thumb. What is it? Whenever you have 2 inefficiencies stacked on top of each other, you would want this one to offer support. You would want this one to stay open. I always say that. That's not just hindsight because of this example. That's the rule of thumb. Same thing here. 2 fair value gaps stacked on top of each other. General rule of thumb, you would want this one to offer support, this one to stay open. In this instance, they stay open all together, but you have the 3 down close candles, and you would draw that through there. And then you have this inversion fair value gap here. So you can already see how the 15-second chart is way more forgiving. And this is perfect because that fair value gap here, can it trade to it? Yes, it could wick down into it. There's nothing wrong with that. That would be a nice entry. But this is when that whole dynamic comes in. Inversion fair value gap here is used as resistance. So when I see this, and we've taken out that daily sell side, rewind the stream. If you joined in late, I said one of the two scenarios I was looking at is if we take out that daily sell side first before trading into our opening range gap, I would want us to trade into it, observe how we respond, and then I would favor repricing towards the opening range gap. So the moment we get this here, we're expecting a possible repricing higher. That fair value gap, I'm expecting that to fail in the future. So you would jar it through, and then fair value gap, order block, all that good stuff. Now right here, we have an imbalance. And this could be any time frame. If I'm expecting this inversion fair value gap, you'll always hear me say, I want to see us stay in the upper half of this. It was used as resistance here, used as resistance here. Now that we're above it, I would want to see if we could remain in the upper half. So if we look at that BISI, where is that fair value gap sitting? In the lower half of the inversion fair value gap. So can it wick down in there? Yes. But if it's really bullish, if it's really good, I wouldn't want to see that. I would want to see that stay open. Midpoint, consequent encroachment of the inversion fair value gap, that stays open, that's perfect. That's what you would want to see. You would want to anticipate that. So when people say daily bias and this and that, this could be a daily chart. This whole fractal here can be a daily chart, and you have your bias. So conceptually, you have to think about it. Just pretend these are all daily candles, okay? All daily candles. If we see something like this here, what are we expecting on the daily chart? Well, if we're already bullish, you did your weekly forecast over the weekend. If you're looking for, let's say this was all-time highs or whatever, you're bullish on the daily chart. These are all daily candles. Are we bullish the next day? Probably. Why? Because we're expecting this fair value gap to stay open. Now it's fine if we open on daily candle, trade down, wick into that, that's fine. But your bias would be bullish because the logic we just outlined on a 15-second chart. 15-second chart, 5-minute, 15-minute, 29-minute, 7-minute chart, hourly chart, doesn't matter. It's all fractal. So if you see something like this, this can be like a weekly sell-side liquidity pool, daily level, whatever. You can apply that to a daily chart, and then there you go, you have bias. But if you don't have that skill set yet, like I always say, just slap on the midnight opening price, and then you're on side 70% of the time. Let's go back. All right, so that midpoint of that down close candle, we're beneath that, which for me would indicate lower prices. And then that low that I had that annotated. I think I took it off. Show your executions. I didn't trade. No trade for me today. I'm chilling today. I'm back at it tomorrow though. There's nothing on here. I'm not even logged into my real account. There's nothing in here. Just tape reading today. What time is it? I'll stay on until 11. Sat in that consolidation for about an hour before it finally does something meaningful. Why no trade? Day after a bank holiday. And I wanted to come out publicly on YouTube first before I disappear in Discord for a while. But no, not interested in anything today. I'm back active. We got a long September ahead of us. So I'm back at it tomorrow morning. Forex replay, FX replay, I'm not really a fan of it. I feel like trading views replay mode is more than enough to get all your back testing done. And that's just my opinion. Is there a reason why you're not interested in anything today? I'm just taking a day off. day after a bank holiday, I'm chilling. I'm never eager to get back in here and be active. I'll let the day after a bank holiday, we just had a nice 3-day weekend. So that day coming off of Monday's holiday, I'll let it trade, do whatever it wants to do, and then I'll be back at it starting tomorrow. So but that Friday's low, I had my eyes set on this inversion fair value gap, and we've been utilizing it all. Let's clear some of this off. This here was a catalyst, and it's actually provided a lot of nice setups. Pretty much all my videos last week where all the trades and whatnot entries were all based off this inversion fair value gap, using it as logic in some way, shape, or form. We used it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday just fell short of it, and then Friday as well, and then before finally just NASDAQ breaks lower. But now that we're beneath that fair value gap, and more specifically, I said if we take out Friday's low, then that would shift me back to a neutral / slightly bearish bias, because ideally I would want support in here. We get a nice displacement into the mitigation at opening price and then works lower. So getting this here today pushes me back to more of a neutral bias on the daily, and then I have the sell side, just keeping my eyes on it here. Any trades today? No trades. I'm not trading today. I'm trading tomorrow in the Discord. Took a nice 2-week break or so. I was done on my live account on August 18th. I didn't take any trades on my big account since that Monday a couple weeks ago. But now I'm back on the 6-figure account, pressing buttons and all that good stuff starting tomorrow. So that's exciting. I actually have to close that 10K account. I'm gonna put that $10,000 back into my main account, or maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. It was fun trading that smaller account and just running it up, taking quick withdrawals from it. I may keep it open. How long will Discord be open? Discord is always gonna be open. It's always open. And whenever I choose to stop live streaming, I'm going to let everybody know like 6 months in advance. Like, it's not going to be like you see most of these guys just going ghost and just closing up shop without saying anything. But Discord's always going to be, I'm going to have the Discord for a long, long, long time. Even if I stop live trading, I still want to have the Discord open, have that community growing, do some content material in there, but I'm gonna have it for a while. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, so trust, I'll be around for a while. I ain't going nowhere. We still working. What time is it? 10:55. Oh, I took my. I really want to see if we can. I want to stay on and see if we run out that low, but I'm not sure how long NASDAQ would take to possibly do that. Now, my ideal scenario, and again, this stream is going to be up and recorded. You can watch the playback, but after we took out that daily sell side, the ideal scenario for me was, because this run here, we did tag that daily low, but to me, it didn't do it in a manner that's too convincing. So if we don't see a return back to that today, I would still see this as like a double bottom. Like, this isn't enough for me. I would want us to really get something more meaningful beneath that. But what I wanted was, we took out that daily sell side, that low, trapped them in short. We talked about all this. and then run out that buy side, I would want to see lower prices in this region. So I was watching this here. Want to see if we could rotate lower, possibly make a lower low here. NASDAQ trades all the way up, just falls short of midpoint of the opening range gap, but we already said at the beginning, I'm really not requiring that. With a 400 point or so opening range gap, I wouldn't demand midpoint to be reached. That's not necessary. So it consolidates for about an hour, and now that we're beneath that midpoint of the down close candle, I'm just watching to see if NASDAQ wants to reach for that sell side. But may log off soon. Do I do signals? No, I don't do signals. Do not join the Discord for signals. I promise you. If you want to copy trades, if you want a signal service, don't join. Keep your $50 or your $250. I promise you, I don't really need it. Do not join. Join somebody else's. Join somebody else's. I'm telling you, I always tell everybody, I do not want people in the server if they're trade copying, if they want signals. Because the days where I feel like I don't want to take a trade, or the days I feel like I just want to tape read, or if I'm not in sync with the daily chart, then we'll just have a tape reading stream. So please don't join if you just want signals. That's not the Discord for you. I promise. I'm trying to help people so they can be independent and do it on their own. I want people to catch their own setups. That's why I leave the recordings up for a week. So if you feel pressure to copy trades and just press buttons when I press the button, because if watching me live gives you that urge to just take the same trades, just watch the recordings. I leave the live stream recordings up all week so you can rewatch them 100 times if you want. And then Sunday, when we get our new week opening gap, that's when I delete them and then we start the week over again. One-on-one sessions, I don't do one-on-ones anymore. So it's almost 11. I think I'm gonna head off here in a little bit. I like how S&P is looking. Can you explain why it stopped climbing? Well, I'm not expecting it to. I still favor lower prices. That's just what I'm looking for as a potential draw. I just feel like we're not done down here. So that's what I prefer. I could be wrong, but just rewatch the live stream. I'm not sure if you hear from the beginning, but we're already expecting lower quadrant of the opening range gap. That's fine. But I said that midpoint consequent encroachment, that's not needed because we have a large 400 point opening range gap. So I wouldn't require us to keep expanding through the upper half of the opening range gap. And then you combine that with the time of day. I haven't talked about the London close macro in a while, but that 10:50 to 11:10 macro, pretty much as you're approaching the 11 o'clock hour, you can expect some measure of a retracement or reversal in the opposite direction of the morning session. So since we opened at 9:30, it's been pretty much one directional. But as we get closer to 11 o'clock, I'm expecting more of a retracement as we head into lunch. $60K for a track record. That was crazy. I'll tell you, the trolls be crazy. It's all good though. Let's look at dollar, see what that got going on. I'm just looking at the chat one last time before I log off. So, I think it was a good morning session. It got a little bit dull. Once we took out that daily sell side, nice rally higher. ATM model, but then we went into consolidation for about an hour. It got a little boring, but for a day after a bank holiday, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, it looks like hindsight, but I like the longs in here. People who watch me trade live, this is something that we anticipate pretty often. And then just being beneath the 8:30 open, midnight open, I mean, this is about as easy as it gets. Expect from Discord, all the Discord features, pricing, all that. Just click the link in the description or the link pinned on top of the chat. It didn't hit midnight open. It doesn't need to hit the midnight opening price is all the way up here. It doesn't need to get up there. That's not required. But Tremaine's model, you're trading in the direction of the midnight open. Your bias is bullish. It doesn't have to get up there, but that's why the model in that video, the rules state you have to take a partial. Because I know if I just say target the midnight open, trade in the direction of the midnight open, people are going to want to buy down here and get out all the way up here. That's why I say you must take a partial. Take partials and then leave a small position on as a runner to see if you can get that. The rules were very specific. When Tori released her account statement, someone found we've already talked about Tori and all that. But she just made a video on that. I respect it though. Like she's human. She has drawdowns. She makes mistakes. Like everybody does. I respect it. To have that large of a following and having to put videos like that together to show where you're to show off your flaws and where you messed up mentally, and to put that on public display, it's not easy. I have a lot of respect for Tori, because while my following is nowhere near as large as her, I can only imagine how difficult and how gut-wrenching in a way that has to be, to be in a spotlight like that when it's not so fun. But I think we're about to log off of here. Quick recap of the morning session so we could end on a good note. My tea already got pretty much warm. But daily chart, that sell side, that's something we've marked out prior to that 9:30 open. Clearly was really heavy on the day. We had a lot of movement pre-market. So sell side liquidity pool looked like NASDAQ was gravitating towards that. And if we go to a 15-minute chart, we slapped on our opening prices right there. 8:30 open, midnight open here. So we open at 9:30 on this candle. Zoom in a little tighter. We open at 9:30 here. We trade down, clearing out that low, and then also clearing out the daily sell side here. And then we rally. Now let's go to 5-minute chart, regular trading hours, and you can watch the recording. The stream isn't going anywhere, it's public. But before we even got this open, okay, I said, and I quote, I'm expecting 1 or 2 scenarios to occur. I'm only expecting 2 things to happen in the first few minutes of trading after the open. Either we open at 9:30, leave that sell side intact, which is here, that's anchored to that daily chart. Either we open at 9:30 and trade up. Let's clear all this out for a second. Or we could leave the quadrants on. Either we open at 9:30, leave the sell side intact, we trade up, reprice in a portion of the opening range gap, which is this candle's close and that candle's open. Here, all the way to here. And your opening range gap midpoint is what you see me labeling there. And I said, it doesn't have to reach the midpoint. It does not need to trade in the upper half, especially if it's bearish. I'm expecting a lower low to be made. I would expect prices to remain in the lower half of our opening range gap. But if we were open at 9:30 and immediately trade higher, I would treat that as a Judas swing. Just build in a premium, accumulate shorts for lower prices, and then tag that sell side over here. That's scenario number 1. The second scenario would be we open at 9:30, trade down, taking out the sell side first, and then I would want us to reprice in this opening range gap. We have the upper quadrant, the lower quadrant, and then the midpoint here. I wouldn't just want us to open, trade down, and then it's lower, 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 and whatnot. I would want us to tag them in, accumulate the sell stop underneath that low, and then run it against them. So we got the second scenario where we tag sell side first. So what are we looking for? A move higher into the opening range gap. We were expecting some movement higher. So if we go to electronic trading hours, and you combine all of this with the logic using opening prices and electronic trading hours. On regular trading hours, we have the narrative. We have a large opening range gap above us. We can expect some of that to be repriced in. We've already cleared out sell side. So regular trading hours, we're expecting some measure of a movement higher. So that's our narrative on regular trading hours. Now electronic, which now you can see the opening prices. We have our midnight opening price here, and we have our 8:30 opening price here. That puts us up in a really deep discount. And then ATM model, sell side liquidity pool on electronic trading hours at 8:50. Tagging into that. So we have electronic trading hours. The stage is set for higher prices. Sell side taken here, sell side taken here, beneath both opening prices. That's narrative on electronic trading. Regular trading hours, we've been through that. So once we do this here, I'm treating that as a Judas swing. Okay, that initial move at 9:30, grabbing liquidity. Now I'm expecting some measure of a repricing higher. 1 minute chart, inversion fair value gap. You can accumulate in here. I love setups like these. Rallies higher, ATM model, buy side, and then 15-second chart. We went through all the entries in here. 1 minute inversion fair value gap, order block, 3 down close candles before displacement, opening price, draw it through, fair value gap, order block, all that stuff. Small little inversion fair value gap here. And this is, what's this, 9:30. So this is your first presented fair value gap on this time frame for those who care about that. Draw it through, hits it there. Last opportunity to get on board here. And let's cover some implied dealing ranges. So we have buy side here, but let's just say you don't know how high NASDAQ's going to go. Let's just say opening range gap, lower quadrant. That's bread and butter, low-hanging fruit. If you're confident that this low is in place, you can run your quadrant from that low, take it up to your anticipated anticipated target. It could be the opening range gap, lower quadrant. It could be the midpoint. If you like the buy side up here, you attach your fib to the buy side. But whatever it is, let's just say for the sake of this example, we're expecting price to trade to the lower quadrant of the opening range gap. You want to get all your longs and all your business handled beneath equilibrium of that implied range, meaning none of this is here in the chart yet. So when I see this here, the moment I see this, we've taken out sell side, we've done the dirty work down here. I'm now saying, okay, we're getting a little bit of displacement. I feel like this low is in place. What do I think NASDAQ can reach for? Well, I like that lower quadrant of our opening range gap because we had a massive gap lower. Let's see if we can reach for that. And if you remember, we're looking for buy side here after we've done this down here. So any entries underneath equilibrium are ideal. If you can get in a lower quadrant here between the low and your anticipated target, if you can get in that lower quadrant, you're getting the best pricing. Like, that's really good. Anything at or beneath equilibrium is fine. Even if it's just above equilibrium, like in this range here, that's fine too if you can't find anything here. But that's when I would go to a 15-second chart, and what you see me do on stream is I'm trying to get my entries beneath here. So inversion fair value gap, is that a good entry? Yes, because it's beneath equilibrium. If you can get that order block, this fair value gap here in the lower quadrant, you're getting the best of the best pricing. Now, once we start getting up in this region, I always tell people, like, if you're trying to add to your position or if you're trying to buy up here, you're throwing money out the window, because once we start approaching the upper quadrant of the move, and in Discord members, we've been talking about this, that fair value gap, where's it resting? You're already expecting that to stay open. But once we start approaching that upper quadrant, you should not be buying order blocks. You should not be buying fair value gaps, because we're in the expansion phase. We're in the phase where we're taking profits. We're managing our stop loss. You want to get all your buying, all your business done down here. Okay, in the lower half of that implied range. This, we're taking partials, we're trailing our stop. So a lot of people talk about FOMO. This logic, simple logic here, let's take off some of this. This removes any FOMO, because if you don't have that implied range, let's say you're looking for opening range gap, lower quadrant as a draw. Let's say that's your bias, you're looking for that. You want to get into a trade that can take you to that price level right there. You're seeing this and you're like, oh man, it's going to leave. Oh, it comes back down. You may not trust that long entry, starts rallying again, and you're scared. It's going to leave. What if it just runs off, doesn't give me an entry? It's going to leave. I don't know. I don't want to chase it, but I'm scared to get in. If that's your mindset, slap on the fib, because let's say you're in this region and you're having a lot of FOMO. It looks like price is going to run. At one point, this was a bold-faced green candle. It looks like it's just going to run without you straight to your target, and you're not even in the trade yet. Just slap on your fib from that low that's in place to whatever your target is here, and you're telling yourself, I want to get any entries at or just beneath equilibrium. That's ideal. Which, in this instance, it does what it's supposed to do, which is leave that fair value gap open, because it's right at midpoint of the implied range. So part of the reason why I don't feel any FOMO when I'm anticipating, when I'm about to get into a trade, I'm using this logic. So you don't have to get in down here. A lot of people, that fair value gap, you may be iffy. I don't know if that fair value gap is going to hold. I kind of want to see it support price first, and then maybe I feel comfortable, using it as an entry. Well, you can see where your ideal entries are before the candlesticks even print in the chart. We're looking for a lower quadrant, opening range gap. Slap this on your chart. This removes any fear, because as long as we're trading beneath this blue line, equilibrium, you don't have to worry about any fear of chasing. You can buy right at that blue line and you're not chasing. So let it show you first. Let it show you that it's supporting here. So right here, down close candle, you may not trust it as a buy. Just watch it. You don't have to buy here. You have this fib on your chart. Understand you're in the lower quadrant. You may sacrifice that better entry. That's fine. So we displace above the inversion fair value gap. You may still not be in a long, but guess what? You're still beneath equilibrium. So are you feeling any FOMO? No, because you understand you can still get a nice buy at a discounted price. Inversion fair value gap, you can be buying the high of it here. That's ideal, because we're not expecting the lower half to be traded to. If your model's order blocks, 3 down close candles, let's say that's what you trade. You may not trust the order block down here. It's too low, too scary. Okay, you have another order block here. Is that chasing price? No, because you already have an implied dealing range. Opening price, draw it through, that could be your long, and then there you go, you're in long. And you're just anticipating higher, higher, higher. Okay, we're approaching equilibrium. Now I trust getting in long here. So that's how I like to use implied dealing ranges. That's how I like to use the fib. It removes any fear of missing out on a price run, because I understand it could run without me for a little bit. That's fine. But as long as I have that implied dealing range, if I have that fib, I can visualize where I want to get my entries. I know the parameters. Okay, if it moves up to this upper quadrant, then I probably missed it. But as long as we're still trading in the lower half of that implied range, I don't feel any FOMO, because I know we're still working in discount. I can find something to get in. Fib settings, you're just doing the quadrants. It's just 0.25, 0.75, 0.5, and then the high and low, which is 0 and 1. 25%, 75%, 50%, and then that's it. So I like what we're seeing in NASDAQ, because again, I do favor a lower low. And we said my last line of defense for higher prices is this down close candle here. If we lose mean threshold of that, then I would favor another lower low. So none of this here. I'm not expecting any measure of reversal, because this is the last down close candle before we get some displacement. So we don't trade to it here, but working this inefficiency, consolidate for an hour. Okay, trade up, trade down. I don't care about any of this. As long as we're above midpoint of this down close candle, I'm sticking with higher prices. Work higher, come back down. Now we're starting to work through that. To me, that's signs of heaviness. Let's look at other indices to see if that confirms it. So we have S&P. Is S&P looking bearish, looking heavy? Yes. S&P is already near its 930 lows. NASDAQ, that's all the way down here. What about Dow? Dow's also working lower, so they're all in agreement. That's nice. Long, yeah, this is a long live stream. I didn't think I was going to be on this long, but I had a nice 3-day weekend, nice 3-day break, so I got a little energy. And my throat's starting to hurt. Rachel was sick the past couple of days. She had like a sore throat. She had strep throat, actually. And hopefully I didn't catch it because my throat's getting sore. Hopefully it's just from talking too much. But I think we're going to log out of here. Am I profitable? Yes, I'm profitable. And then same thing here. Let's just flip it. So let's say, okay, NASDAQ failed to reach midpoint of the opening range gap. We have Dow, ES looking heavy. We already mentioned that if we're expecting this down close candle to offer support, if we get through mean threshold of it, then that's heavy, right? So I would like NASDAQ to make a lower low. So you would take the same thing. I would take the most recent low. You can use this one, that's fine, but this low is more impulsive. We formed this high, or sorry, I said low. This high is more impulsive. We formed this high, then went in consolidation for about an hour. So I like using this high here down to that low. So watching this leave, no big deal, no big deal, no big deal. This right here, if I'm considering short, and this is just an example because we're on the topic of implied dealing ranges, this right here would be my last opportunity to get on board going short, because anything in here, now we're in an expansion phase, you would expect speed, large down close candle. You would expect order blocks to fail, fair value gaps to fail, because we're in the profit taking area. I'm focused on trailing my stop, taking partials, that sort of thing. So, yeah. But there's nothing wrong with using that high if that just makes more sense to you. Just take the current high that's in place, and it's the same logic. That fair value gap near equilibrium, that's the last chance to get on board. That's it. Any shorts down here, to me, that's too much. We're in the lower quadrant. We're too close to that sell side. So if you're trying to short fair value gaps in here, if you look at your losing trades, when fair value gaps most likely fail, chances are you're probably adding shorts in the lower quadrant. You're trying to short order blocks as we're approaching that lower quadrant. That's not ideal. You can see deeper retracements here, and it will still be good to go lower. But when you're on side, like for this move higher, remember we're looking for the lower quadrant of the opening range gap. This is what you like. All your long entries, all your business in the lower half, those are the best fair value gaps. Those are the ones you can trust. As we get up here in the upper quadrant, it gets a little bit suspect. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm glad I see this. So right here, this fair value gap, and I wish it would have made a lower low. It would have made for a better teaching point. But that inefficiency, a lot of people will look to buy that, or you may look at these 3 down close candles before displacement. You may try to buy here. It can give a deeper retracement, completely get beneath the fair value gap, and still be good to go higher. We expect stuff like this as we approach the upper quadrant. So that's why I say it's not smart to add to your position up here, let alone anything up here. Best shorts are upper quadrant, equilibrium. Anything down here is not ideal. You're just wasting money. Mom is doing good. We're going strong. She's doing good. Taking it day by day. She gets some. She's actually getting her scans right now, I think. Yeah, she's getting a lot of scans done this morning as we speak, and we're gonna get results on that. See how the chemo's working and all that good stuff. Check them. See if the cells are shrinking, if they're stagnant, if they're growing, and all that stuff. So it's a big week for her, you know, but I think she'll be just fine. Probably get those scan results and all that in a couple of days. But appreciate the prayers and concern. All right, I'm getting tired. I think we're gonna get off of here. Long stream, 2-hour stream. We're like 2.5 hours. We're gonna go ahead and log off. A lot of fun. Hopefully you learn a little bit of something. Price got a little bit boring in here for about an hour, but we're getting some movement now. So we're gonna go ahead and log off of here. Discord members, we're back live trading. I'll be back on my live account, main account, pressing buttons. Yes, you'll see my exits, entries, all that stuff. If you're not in the Discord, get in there. There's some good stuff, good educational material. I live stream Monday through Friday, and I'll take trades in there so I can show you how I like to do what I do. So I think that is it. What else? I've had a lot of people ask me to do monthly schedules again. At first, I stopped doing monthly schedules. It's because the schedule for every month is pretty much the same. Like, we live stream the same time every day, webinars the same time every week. So I kind of stopped doing the monthly schedules, but a lot of people are wanting those again. So I may make one for September. Be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I won't be looking at anything today. I won't be trading anything during lunch or the PM session. Today is a no trade day for me. I'm back in business tomorrow, locked in, ready to go. On Wednesday. So it was fun. Hopefully you learned something. YouTube family, I love you. If you're not in the Discord, I wish you the best in your trading this week. Don't gamble. Don't be impulsive. Follow your plan. Follow your rules, and you'll be just fine. Discord members, we're back in business tomorrow morning at 9:15. Love y'all, man. Peace.